a stocky, tall leopard, or stocky leopard for his age, but he's not a big leopard yet. And then when you compare him to his dad, you can just see the difference. Just see the difference. Dad is a big boy, a really big cat. And this is what they do most of the day. Very, very hard life. A diet of protein. Not much work required with regards to tax and payment of bills. They drink water, they sleep, and they hunt. That is quite a nice life. Can still see the neck moving there. Very easy to identify the difference between a female and male by the size of that neck. Joy, that's a very interesting question. Would Hosana try to hunt next to Tingana? And I don't think, personally, I've never seen anything like that. Hunting together, they are competitive. Definitely the bigger of the two would outcompete the smaller of the two. And if Hosana made a kill, the Tingana would definitely steal it from him. There's no love lost when it comes to food. And when it comes to sociality and leopards, I've never seen male leopards feeding together. I've never heard of them hunting together. There might be cases recorded in the Sabi Sands, but nothing I've ever heard of or read about. So it might be something to ask James or Steph about, but I don't think it would happen. There might be some action, and they might do something, but it would not be as a team. It would be as a solo effort. Maybe a piracy. If one took it, the other one would steal it, but definitely the bigger of the two would outcompete the smaller. Just hear the sounds of the crested francolin in the distance. We spoke about them earlier in the elephant dung. Very important for scratching in and around the area and dispersing seeds. A question from James about where I've guided before. I started my guiding career with Singita in the Kruger National Park. That was then followed by a stint with wilderness safaris, with a fair bit of studying in between. Nature conservation studies. So yes, Singita Kruger National Park with a small stint with Singita in the Sabi Sands, but not a very extensive period in the Sabi Sands itself. So this is my third time back here, and wilderness safaris up in the Porphyry section, Makuleki in the northern Kruger. Probably the most amazing place in the world when it comes to birding, comes to wetlands, when it comes to elephant encounters and buffalo. Definitely, if you've never been to the northern part of the Kruger, it's a must-see. Both leopards are very alert. Their heads are up. The wind has died down, but it has definitely got a little bit cooler. They're both looking off in the northerly direction, but there doesn't seem to be anything that I can see in that direction. I don't know if you can see anything there, Seb.
No, not yet.
Looking at the leopard's ears, though, what's interesting when you look at intention, and what I always would say to the students I've trained is that if you understand animal behavior and if you understand ecology and tracking, you can get away with being a decent guide. Because animals, they'll show you what they're doing. Their intentions tell you what's happening. Look at his ears are moving left and right. There's no direction. They're not set in one particular direction. So he's scanning the bush like a satellite, looking for sounds, looking for stimuli, looking for information. And while he's doing that, he's just sitting. I don't know if any of you have got a cat at home. They'll sit on the bed and they'll be fast asleep and the ears will twitch left and right and something will happen. And there's a beautiful yawn. Often after a leopard yawns, they tend to want to move. But I think it might be still a little bit early in the day for them to do that. Definitely a great first drive for me. Couldn't have planned this better for myself. 2 male leopards. This for me is a first. Absolute first. Unique. So they are both relaxed, both very, very relaxed in this afternoon sunshine, and the wind is slowly starting to pick up again. But as you can see with Hosana there, nothing's going on. He's just being. He's just sitting, his tail in the sand. And an easy way to identify a male leopard, if you just go up a little bit there, by the genitals. Okay, when a leopard is not very big, if you're not too sure about the sex or by the size, looking behind the tail, under the tail, is often a good sign for the sex. Look at the spots, the beautiful rosettes, beautiful camouflage for cryptically making him disappear into the vegetation. You see what I mean about the intention. Suddenly the ears and the eyes perk up like your cat will do at home, staring off into the distance to that inaudible sound or stimuli that you did not pick up on. Dogs do the same thing. The wind is coming in his face, is in his direction, but there's nothing there that we can see. Maybe he's wondering what his dad's going to do next. Kathy, a question: are there a lot of leopards in the Northern Kruger? There are a fair amount of leopards up there, but the vehicle movement in the Northern Kruger is very, very small. There's only 2 lodges there, and the traversing rights or the road network is very, very small. And not many vehicles are out actively pursuing or actively habituating leopards. So to me, it's a very wild area where if you do find a leopard, it's generally quite skittish, it generally moves off. And that is a fantastic stretch. Any of you yoga lovers out there, that is called the cat stretch, or the downward facing dog, done by the cat himself. And he's moving closer to his dad. So let's just watch this for a moment. You'll see that the dad is aware he's coming. His ears have just flicked back slightly. What are the intentions here? This is completely new to me. A young male of 21 months approaching an adult. I don't know if I would be doing it. Let's see if there's any behavior change here. There we go. Look at that. There was a complete grimace. The ears are flat. And now there is a submissive behavior happening from the youngster a little bit to the right. If you can pan out a bit there. I don't know if you saw that. So the adult growled, flattened his ears, opened the mouth, and in response the youngster sat down, made a little meow of a cat call, mimicking the facial expressions of the dad, but not aggressively. Even though the face looks aggressive, the little meow that came out was very soft and playful. Now this is fantastic, seeing 2 male leopards facing off to each other, and the youngster not too bothered, picking up scent in the air, sniffing at a stick. Just complete displacement behavior, showing no signs of being worried or being aggressive. And that is basically animal behavior. If someone is being aggressive towards you and you behave aggressively, the response will be aggression. But if you react passively or completely aloof to aggressive behavior, often that completely breaks down the aggression. Because, you know, that's how you fight fire with water, not with fire. Once again, dad is down. Okay, it's still hot here, but not as hot as it was earlier today. And these leopards are just relaxing. I really don't know. If you guys out there have seen action like this behavior, please send through your comments. I've never seen what we're seeing right here. And for me, this is fantastic. So I was saying before about animal behavior, tracking, and ecology. And ecology is a very broad word, and a lot of people get quite sort of shaken when they hear ecology, and they think, oh my word, only ecologists understand ecology. But if you break it down to a human level, what is ecology? Why do we wear jackets? Because the environment we live in is cold. Why do we wear hats? Because the sun in our face burns our head. Why do the leopard have spots? So he can camouflage himself for hunting. It's as simple as that. Why do impala males have horns? Because they fight for dominance against the females. Why do the females and males have large ears? It's to hear, to defend themselves against predators. So ecology is a very broad term, very easily understood. Don't ever let yourself be daunted by ecology. The wind picked up again, and there's a bit of action as Hosana stands up and is starting to stalk little birds. He's definitely very playful. He's definitely still a youngster. And Dad does not care. He's not interested in the little birds. It's a nice visual of him in the light there. Oh, did you see the displacement? Well, should I say the aggressive response? Hosana came a little bit close, and instead of doing anything, he just showed a facial expression of teeth baring, mouth wide open, and a little noise coming out of the chest. And that's enough to let the youngster know that he's overstepped his boundary, and he sits down again. If you're spending your time with domestic dogs, they do something very similar with puppies. The puppies always want to nibble at their ears and bite them, and they quite often will get a little nip on the bum or on the head or wherever it might be, and they learn that way. They learn not to be naughty. Those are very social animals, and they need to learn these things. I think maybe we move back a bit, let these guys in. Seb, what do you think? We're just going to move back a bit and let these guys come in. Are you guys fine? Are you sure? Okay, no, they're fine. We're in a really good position here. I feel a bit guilty for hogging it. Well, you guys are very fortunate. There's no signal with Noel, so we are going to stay with these leopards as they sit here. And I haven't heard any comments from the audience with regards to if they've seen anything like this before, what their thoughts might be. Crystal, I believe you saw a male leopard sharing a meal with a cub. That definitely happens when they're quite young. When leopards are young, maybe less than 6 months or 8 months, I could be mistaken. But 21 months, this for me is quite unique. But it's still always very, very, very interesting. Yeah, keep them coming, folks. Keep them coming. Leopards in the Sabi Sands are a phenomenon known throughout the world. If you want to see leopards, this is the place to come. I think I've just proved that on my first drive here, and we are loving the spotted cats. So when we talk about leopards and males and females, you quite often will find the male leopard has got a territory, and depending on the food resource, that territory will have a particular type of size. So if you in an area, in the savannah area, you often have a much smaller territory because there's more food. When you go sort of more desert like Namibia areas or Kalahari, leopards have far greater territories purely because the food resource is much less. Okay, folks. There's another vehicle arrived, and I'm sure he would like to get a visual of this. So we're going to back out a bit, try give them a little bit of space. Going to back out, give them some space, and then let's see what happens from there.